Hey guys, Nux here. I'm doing the intro today. We're here with another episode of the Some Ordinary podcast. It's your usual hosts, me, Nux, Caleb, and Muda. And today we have our guest, Hartvigen.
Hi.
Oh my god, that was perfect.
Yes,
Wow.
yes, good job.
Awesome. Holy crap, perfect.
That's cool.
I guess we might
Good
as well
job.
rip the band-aid off. I remember the day of VidCon when sorry, not VidCon, but like AnimeCon or whatever. And then like we had
Anime Expo.
Anime
Yeah.
Expo, whatever, dude. It was a
Come on,
convention.
Muda.
Okay, get out of here. All right, it smelled. Anyways,
Jesus.
though, when I saw this troll happening, I could not stop but partake in it. And you know what?
Mhm.
It was
You're a villain.
Same.
You're a villain.
You absolutely loved it. And it's so funny because like at the end of the day, you were like, oh God, am I actually doxxed? No, you're not. Because we're just like we're literally just retweeting. Well, I mean, to be real, this is actually Nux. We're not even joking around. Like this is in fact a face review.
Yeah.
It's just
So what's
Twitch
funny
changes
is I
kicking
ended
in,
up in the span of 1 week, I trended on Twitter twice for and I had nothing to do with either of them. Okay, then you also got into this whole hashtag free Nux Taku thing. Like I got arrested for indecent exposure, whatever.
Yeah, what the hell's going on, Mr. Ezra Miller of YouTube?
It's true, bro. What are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Well, I very much appreciate it, gamers. Thank you. Thank you. You're too kind.
What do you mean you appreciate it? We did literally post bail for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
We
how
got
I'm
you out of
here.
the shit
That's
you're
how I'm recording this.
you got yourself into.
We literally had to fly down. I'm not even joking, to that Six Flags where you did expose yourself, and we did actually have to bail your ass out.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate
expose
that, like,
yourself.
many people on YouTube have, like, fake friends. Fake friends, they'll say, no, it's not true, he wasn't arrested. The real ones will make believe he was arrested. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, like, it's kind of
think-
cool though. Go ahead.
I think I've seen you accused for just about every conceivable crime over the last week on Twitter. It's getting up there.
Yeah.
It's so sad. Yo, also within the last week, we were all on the Times Square billboard. That was pretty cool.
We were. That was kind of sick,
Mhm.
dude. My uncle in New York actually saw it too. He like immediately messaged me like on like WhatsApp or whatever. And he was like, "Are you in Times Square?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Wait, what? I'm like, "Oh, that thing happened. Oh shit.
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
god damn. Yes, I am, Uncle." And he was like sharing it with the whole family. So Grandma finally got to see something a little positive versus like the 77th like hentai photo somebody sends her, which
Yeah.
is
Rule 34, Muda.
it's
that a thing?
Yeah, my grandma saw porn of me, dude. It's fucked up.
Let's
Like-
go.
How do
Like,
you
it-
explain that?
Let me tell you. Let me tell you about this thing. So I want to say like there's this photo of me on the internet, right, where I'm literally like asking an Asari from Mass Effect, and it's like
Makes
a
sense.
really well animated,
Hot as
hentai.
too, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Like it's got that like Fight Night X-ray like nut cam or whatever. And
Yeah.
so grandma gets to see that, right? And then she like asks me, first thing is like, did you draw this? And part of me was like, dude, I kind of want to say yes, because it's so good. You know what I mean? Like it looks so good that I'm like, damn, I do want to take credit for it. But then I had to explain to grandma, I'm like, well, grandma, I do these things on the internet, like movies. No, not those kind of movies, grandma.
Mhm.
But I make these
Yeah, easy,
videos on the internet, and people take my face and sometimes draw it on. And she's like, so this isn't you? And I'm like, well, that is me, but it's not made by me, if you catch it. And then it was like a long explanation. She thought I was not going down the path of the Lord, and well,
Well, you
it
proved
just
her wrong. Yeah.
Give
Mm.
me a second here. I'm looking this up. I'm getting the Granny Mudaha experience.
oh my god, I think I can send it to you. Mudahar ass Asari, I think.
Oh my god, bro.
The only result I get is something called Deep Ass Browsing 69, and it's a
That's
picture of
one.
you
That's
posted-
one for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, that's one for sure. I'll send you the link right here. Actually, it's in the Riverside chat, so you can just like open that up right there.
If you want.
Oh my god, dude.
That is
That is
actually-
awesome.
That is surprisingly well made.
Yeah,
You
right?
guys want to
Like-
see one that's
I
What,
kind of hate
what's
that I've
what?
seen that one before, not gonna lie. A lot of you may not be aware, but not only is Hartvigen my
It's in
face
Riverside
reveal,
chat.
but also he has a hentai channel. Like on
The
YouTube.
eyes on that one. Wait, that's you.
Oh
with Nick-
my,
oh my
god,
God.
that's horrible.
That's me and Nikocado Avocado.
That's beautiful.
That's pretty sick, dude.
It's disgusting, bro.
Look at how like your eyes are bulged and ready to eat that.
What is it?
I don't know. I honestly cannot imagine like I don't know, dude. You know what? Like I feel like that's the same artist actually. That's kind of insane. Like the art style matches up really like well. Could you imagine somebody like
Yeah.
had to draw like the apple of Nico? That is actually
Oh.
I don't know what the little slimy stuff in the ass is, but
Yeah, a
very
little bit of cheese or something.
very
think
very
I wanna
very
know.
interesting portrayal of Rule 34. But you know what? You know what? Grandma finally got crisis averted and she got to see something else, not Rule 34 with me. Thank God for that one. Yeah. So, anyways, Nux, how's your how's it feel having your face finally be out there in the public?
I gotta say, it's pretty great. And to all the people, so I just uploaded a video the other day where we lip synced. Like, I recorded a minute of audio and Hartvigen like lip synced it. And I put it like, I made believe it was a face reveal on my channel.
Mhm.
And all the comments that only watched like the first, 3 minutes of the video, they were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he actually did it. He actually," and it just sang right after. We're like, I didn't imagine him to look like that. Oh my god, he looked exactly like I imagined. You got like the whole range.
Imagine
I think
go ahead.
no, sorry. I think the best part about that is that you obviously uploaded the video yesterday, which I pretty quickly found out because my Twitter inbox in the last like 24 hours has just been people messaging me like, "Are you really Nux Taku?"
Yes, I saw that also.
That's insane, dude.
And it's I watched the bit of the video with the lip sync just to see how it came up. It's not even like it's not even that convincing for the lip sync, right? Like you can maybe like put it down to like a bad camera or something, but it does not look, like
It's not
one to
terrible.
one.
It's not
It's not
great.
terrible,
I didn't
but
try to fool anyone. I just meant
No.
it to be like, I wanted people to take a double take. I wanted them to look and be like,
yeah, but
especially because I got into all that drama over doxing like 6 months ago. That just made
Mm.
this whole situation, I think, funnier. That like my
Yeah.
friends out here getting into more drama with doxing, betraying.
But
me.
I think that's what's so funny about it because people still fall for it, right?
I know.
Like I've had so many people
Well,
message me, you wouldn't believe it.
That's what we said about it. Like that's what he said about it a few episodes ago. It's like you could probably have like 300 face reveals, and then in amongst all those face reveals, you could actually reveal your face, and nobody would actually like think twice. You know what I mean? Like people just think
Yeah.
it's a troll because it's
Yeah.
like your face could
He's
literally
trolling.
Like I think that's probably the best way to obfuscate yourself on the internet. Like have like like fucking pay like 30 people on Fiverr to just face reveal you and then be one of the face reveals. So it's like now
Yeah,
I'm like,
you could do that.
now I'm like stealthfully out there. Now no one's gonna fucking because then you have to like prove that would be like the nicest like internet rabbit hole, dude. Like fucking some of the darker YouTube channels could be like the actual identity of Nux Taku. We have his social IDs. Like fucking
And the funniest thing is the the thumbnail that I used for that video. I had a really busy week for personal reasons, and I just stole Turkey Tom's thumbnail. I just changed the background.
you pulled a React channel right there. You were just
Nice.
like fucking yoink.
He, in my defense, he made a video about me. Okay, like he had like the swatting, doxing, like threatening text on the thumbnail. So I just stole his thumbnail. I changed the background.
Please tell me it was like a
put-
gamer from Mars thumbnail where it was like he was like
I
he
wish.
killed people.
wait. Well, oh god, I love some of the gamer from Mars thumbnails.
I know they're just like the best quotes. Like it'll just make you double take the YouTube
Yeah,
thing. It's like what?
You know, you're just looking. You read the title and then the thumbnail. It was a black man. It's like-
Oh man! But speaking of wild,
He's got great fucking thumbnails.
well, speaking of wild things on the internet, before we started this podcast, we mentioned a based internet idol that we are all fans of, and we all 100% endorse.
Yes.
Emery Andrew Tate the Third.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh my god! Let me tell you.
He's been fucking blowing up.
So I didn't know about.
I've never
this,
seen
yeah.
anyone blow up so fast.
Well, I didn't hear about him at all because I don't go on TikTok, but apparently he's been on TikTok for 2 months, like blowing up there, right? And he's been like blowing up amongst the self-help crew. It's like, hey guys, he's here. First off, let me just start off by saying I can't decipher whether this man is a Brit or whether this is an American.
Yeah, he's got multiple accents.
Bro, he's like Christian fucking Bale. Have you ever heard that like rant with Christian Bale? You're a nice fucking guy, all right? And then he like keeps switching his accent back and forth. I'm like, all right, Christian, relax, keep one fucking accent going in because I'm getting a little confused. Same vibe with Andrew Tate. So Andrew Tate jumps into TikTok 2 months ago, and he deals with like the self-help crew. It's like fucking, here's how to like better yourself. Here's how to get pussy. Here's how to do, you know what I mean? Like those kind of guys that jump in and they're like, you know what? This guy's got it going on. Because Andrew Tate's got one of those things where he's like a perfect image intimidator. Which, for those of you who don't know, it's like as long as you have the money, you know, the looks and everything, you can kind of like sell that onto like the most gullible person out there, right? You know what I mean? Like that's
You're in my garage. I don't care about the Lamborghini.
Exactly.
You know what I care about?
Yeah, it's one of those situations, right? Like he'll go to like all those people on the internet who like instead of like bettering themselves, they're going to like pay for courses to learn how to better yourself. Now, I as a person believe that if you pay for a course to learn how to be a better man, you will always be an eternal cuckold, right? Like that's just my belief.
Okay? I agree.
Yeah, like I'm not going to pay for
science, okay?
Like if one thing me and Andrew Tate absolutely agree on, there's one quote that he says, okay? Dude, I don't understand why people play Grand Theft Auto online, okay? They're literally sitting on a video game to level up their character. Bro, my life is GTA. I'm leveling up my characters. I want a house, I want a car, I just do it. Now, Andrew Tate's got this thing where like he'll make a statement like that and you can kind of understand it, right? It's like, oh, that's a really good way of looking at life sometimes. You know, think of it like a video game. Every obstacle you have is kind of like a challenge, a level that you have to learn to surpass. You break things down and you do it piece by piece. And one thing that seems insurmountable to you, maybe a week or two down the road, you can actually succeed at it, right? You know what I mean? It's like working out. You know, you don't start off by jumping into the deep end of the pool. You do like really light stuff and then you accelerate it into like, you know, stage 11, stage 12, like down the road. You know what I mean? So he'll say stuff like that and you're like, oh, it makes sense. And then like he'll redline the whole fucking argument. Like he'll push down on the gas pedal to some misogynistic rant where you're like, oh, okay, I can't co-sign on. He'll go from like self-help to all women are complete property. It goes from like, you know, genuine dude to like, oh, this is a 4chaner. Like, what the fuck?
I don't know. He should watch his mouth or Twitch might ban him for twerking or something. Wouldn't want that.
No. But he's been on like the Twitch circuit recently, right? And the way that I found out about him was a week ago because one of my like close friends was like, Muda, do you know about Andrew Tate? And I'm like, no, I don't know who the Andrew Tate is. And then he shows me this like 15-minute compilation, and this is just like a scratching the surface compilation of all of his outlandish shit. And the entire time that I'm watching it, I'm like, this can't be a real person. Like, this actually cannot be a real person. Like, everything that he says is so outlandish and wild. Turns out it's a real person. You know what I mean? It's a real guy. He's not faking it, as far as my knowledge goes. He's
not.
Yeah. So it's an interesting dude. It's an interesting mix. Obviously, I think a lot of it may be a bit of a hyperbole on his part. Like, obviously, he's just going like extreme to sell courses and like incel farm, in my opinion, right? Like all the people that's pretty much the vibe that I get. No more different than any other self-help guru, except this time, unironically, I consider this person actually entertaining, you know? And if I get canceled for that, fuck it, I don't care. Like
I still think one of the best tweets I've ever seen was Caleb in his like white suit meeting a misogynist later, dressed to impress.
Like, I didn't even wear that. I went shirtless.
You went shirtless to talk to him?
Yeah.
Were you getting?
Yeah, I smoked a cigar. I was shirtless for the first like bit, and then I had sunglasses on. I was matching his energy really well.
We
were both very misogynistic.
Did you hire a massage? Did you hire like a massage?
No, he didn't have one either, which I was glad because I don't have access to that kind of stuff.
Oh, come on. You're the guy who showed us rub maps. What the fuck?
My lifestyle is I'm joking most of the time. He's not. He's really serious about having an older woman rub his back for 4.5 hours.
I would love to actually have an interview with him and do the exact thing. I mean, replicate the Andrew Tate set, have some person massage me for 4.5 hours and just talk about fucking misogyny with him.
Is that I've got to admit here, I don't really know an awful lot about Andrew Tate. Does he have a thing with making like elderly women massage him for 4.5 hours? What's that about?
It's a power move.
Yeah, dude,
it's a power move.
It's a flex. Okay, think about it. You're in a call with XQC. XQC is speaking at 35 miles an hour. And all you have to do is sit there, smoke your cigar, and dismantle every argument that he has while getting massaged. Isn't that what the life is all about? Like, dude,
Sounds
he had Aiden Ross on a stream and he like stun locked Aiden Ross by going, hey Aiden, did you ever see the clown that hides from gay people? And Aiden's like, what? and then like
Yeah.
his face is just one of those, like he got like the troll face, and it's just like, dude,
It's
what
fucking
the
insane.
fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he got annihilated.
he just goes he's like, hey, you guys know why you guys are having these dumb takes? Because I exist outside the fucking matrix, okay? You guys have to conform to Twitch rules. I say fuck them. I'm like, that I can kind of respect this guy. This guy just like this is the Andrew Tate thing. I'm telling you right now, this is like, like a cartoonishly like misogynistic person, okay? This is the guy. All right, like, let me tell you, Quagmire from Family Guy is more of a respectful to women kind of guy than this dude. You know what I mean? Like,
Legitimately, yeah.
This is the kind of guy that goes down to like Saudi Arabia, for instance. And he's like, "Wow, women's rights? Well, clearly,
this country's too progressive for me.
Yeah."
I'm going back to Romania.
Yeah, like he goes to Saudi Arabia. It's like, wait, they let them drive here? Whoa, this is the mark of a fallen society, clearly. And then he just like teleports his ass back.
Wokeism has really affected this country.
Dude, there's like, so this is how this is how I know these guys are trolling, right?
How is he still around though? Like, I would think that every platform would nuke him instantly.
What would nuke him for? What, telling the truth? Like, what the fuck? No, but like for real though, this is how I know that there's a troll. So him and his brother are both like in this lifestyle, him and Tristan Tate. Now there's an image of both these guys standing on top of this nice vista in Romania in front of 2 supercars, right? And his brother literally is standing next to him in front of a fucking Lamborghini with, I shit you not, a machete in his hand. I'm like, all right, this is how I know y'all are fucking trolling. There is no way I'm going out with my brother in a supercar, 2 supercars. And I'm like, hey, bro, for the shot, I want you to hold the machete. Look real fucking menacing.
You're holding the machete. Look hard as fuck.
Yeah. I'm like, god damn, dude. But that's the Tate lifestyle, And the thing with the Tate stuff is that, so I have this video that I'm also making on it too, and it's like I definitely went into it where I'm like, I look at some of his outlandish statements and I'm like, okay, clearly it's not right. You know what I mean? Like, let's be 100% real. The whole women are property thing, insane argument, right? Nobody can really co-sign that, obviously. And then you get into like some of the self-help stuff. So it's like, obviously this guy has a really good way of speaking. Like, if you listen to him, he is incredibly charismatic. Like his charisma is like up to an 11, Like, he may not even make the most cogently intelligent argument, but the way that he speaks so eloquently and it can convince anybody of anything. Like, you can sit
he's
there.
getting a back rub from an elderly woman at the same time.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Yeah, the meantime.
Well, it's even better because sometimes he'll go on a misogynistic rant, and the lady that's like massaging him will be like, "Yeah, you're right about that. Women ain't shit, but hoes are trans."
Oh my god,
bitches ain't shit.
Yeah.
You're right, Emery.
Yeah, like,
how you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Like, the lady massaging him is like, "Yeah, you're absolutely right. All of them are whores, 100%, Andrew. You got it going on. PhD."
my
She 100% knows where that bonus is coming from.
Yeah, right. Like, Andrew's the kind of guy that if he pays a woman for sex, it's like, of course I'm gonna pay for a woman. I buy land, right? So I'm buying pussy. Come on, it's the same thing. Like, that's the kind
He doesn't
of
do that.
argument.
He's anti paying money for sex.
Come on.
He also hasn't jacked off in 10 years.
Why would you jack off when you're getting laid every night? Like, what the fuck?
Exactly. Yep. And he doesn't like hentai either.
Wow.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Yep.
He doesn't fuck with the
So,
cartoon pussy.
Muda, Caleb, I don't know if you're aware, but that is a direct insult to our guest this week, Hartvigen.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe you can convince him about the beauty of hentai. Like, maybe
Have
you can
seen
tell
his
him what's
channel?
going on.
Like, aside from his beautiful face, have
No,
you seen his channel?
I've seen his channel. Like, so I've seen your channel as soon as I retweeted you. I'm like, the first question I had was, I'm like, how the fuck are you still in the partner program? How are you still like actually functioning? Like, how do they let you?
It's I asked myself that a lot. I had a lot of trouble with YouTube like a couple years ago, but I feel like I've sort of figured out how to get around a lot of the community guideline stuff. Because obviously I review hentai, so I have to, figure out where I can actually tread, and I have to tread very lightly. But in general, so long as you just avoid actually showing anything too explicit, sure, you'll get demonetized. Can't get around that, but in general, you'll be allowed to stay on the platform.
So I assume when you're editing your video or your editor's editing your video, it's literally like walking on a landmine, you know? Today's episode of the Some Ordinary Podcast is brought to you by our friends over at ExpressVPN. Ladies and gentlemen, ExpressVPN is the one VPN on the market that I would consider one of the best because it doesn't track your activity online. Lots of cheap and specially free VPNs will absolutely log all of your stuff and sell it to dirty advertisers, but ExpressVPN does not do this. In fact, some of their technology, such as Trusted Server, basically make sure that their VPN servers store no data whatsoever. Of course, ExpressVPN also uses Lightway, which is a new protocol that is engineered to make user speeds completely faster than ever before. I hate seeing the buffering screen, and ExpressVPN makes sure that that doesn't happen. And the last thing is, it's incredibly easy to use. With an amazing GUI interface, you absolutely need no technical skills to set it up. You fire up the app and you call it a day. And then, of course, that's not just me saying it. You've got multiple sources like Business Insider, The Verge, and many tech journals who expressively rate ExpressVPN the best #1 VPN in the world. So anyways, protect yourself with a VPN that I use and trust. Use my link expressvpn.com/SOP today and get an extra 3 months free in a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/SOP. Visit expressvpn.com/SOP to learn more. Anyways, let's head back to the episode. Because if one nipple slips through, you're fucked. You get
one
the
nipple
actual
slips through,
combine
you're
line
fucked.
strike.
100%.
Yeah.
I edit my own videos, but yeah, it's definitely something you think about.
It's his
but that's
passion for the craft.
my passion for the craft. I mean,
Your
I'm certainly
passion is
not
covering
making
up his
anything off
nipples.
I appreciate that a lot because whenever I do like one of those deep web videos, I like have to comb through the whole edit, like any dick,
God.
I'm zooming into like pixels even. I'm like, let me censor that because these pixels combined together kind of look like a penis, and then I have to get rid of it. So, but I can imagine for hentai, right? It's like you got all the fluids everywhere, X-ray shots of dicks going into like.
Obviously you pick and choose what scenes actually go into it, so generally it's not really a problem of how much of this penis do I have to censor. You just omit the penis completely. But I think the biggest problem in general is some hentai out there, they will be very, very scantily clad, and it's very hard to sort of try and censor around that unless you just sort of have black boxes moving around. Which, isn't any fun for anybody, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's how the Japanese watch their porn, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
What is the filthiest hentai you've ever seen? I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off here right
Oh,
now.
the
Like, what is the
filthiest
filthiest? No, like, not just filthy, like something that'll make you, like, not, like, something that, like, hurts your soul.
Something that'll make you gag.
Something that'll make you
gag.
want to go to church, kind of, like that kind of filthy.
Have you heard of Euphoria?
Dude, that's the first thing everybody ever mentions to me. What the fuck? What can you explain? I've never seen Euphoria. I've only heard of it.
So,
I wish I didn't know about it.
Have you ever seen the Saw? Have you ever seen the Saw movies?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So you get have a bunch of participants. They're trapped in a room, and they have to perform excruciating torture upon themselves to get out.
Mm-hmm.
You take that concept and you just replace that excruciating torture with just the most depraved sex acts you can imagine. Like if you can mention a fetish someone might have, I will almost guarantee you that it's included in that. They've got scat, they've got gore, they've got like
electricity,
people's heads coming off. It's out there.
Dude,
at one point, they get really creative at times. At one point, they have the Human Centipede.
Oh yeah, dude, it's a great
Favorite
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
What if instead of just having like 3 people connected, you connect people in a circle so that it's like a perpetual machine in that regard?
So speaking of human centipedes, I saw one of the greatest pickup lines of all time recently.
Okay.
Care to repeat it?
How do you segue to that one, please?
It's like, hey baby, in the human centipede, everyone asks you which part of the centipede do you want to be. Most people will say the first, but that's not the best because the first person in the centipede will poop in the mouth of the second person, who will then throw up back into the anus of the first person. And it will be a perpetual cycle where the third person in the centipede does not get anything in their mouth.
This is way too long to be a pickup line.
Technically, no, it gets better. So technically, anyone should want to be the third person in the human centipede. But baby, if you were first, I'd pick second.
That's like really committing to a girl. Like you haven't even like seen what her colonoscopy records show, and you're still already down there.
What if she has anal polyps?
Well, okay.
Really, you're
So,
gonna
there's something I find fucked up about the Human Centipede movie. Okay, like the first one, and it's not like the whole concept. It's the fact that the guy in the front bitches so much the entire movie. Like, dude, think about it like this. Okay, you've been kidnapped. You've been attached ass to mouth to other people. Like, if I woke up as a human centipede, don't get me wrong, it would be shocking. But like, dude, I'm getting my ass licked and I'm getting free food. Like, it could be way worse. And yet the whole episode, the whole movie, he's the one complaining the hardest. Like, you got a chick in the third row, the third fucking centipede eating ass, like double like refried asshole. You got the person in the middle eating your shit. Like, dude, life could be a lot better. Life could be a lot worse in that situation. You know what I mean? Like, I watched that whole movie. I'm like, I don't understand his complaints that hard. You know what I mean? Like, you get your ass eaten, you get good food. I mean, like, chill out about it. Okay, you could have had it. You could have had it way worse. And that's why every time I watch that movie, that's the one thing that always drives me up the ass. You know, it's the Japanese trucker, dude.
I get it.
Yeah, dude. I watched that movie again, and I'm like, I don't know why this guy's complaining the most. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a traumatic situation to be in. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not discounting that, but like, why are you the one screaming the hardest? There is a lady in the third row who doesn't care.
I mean, to be fair, to the other two people's credit, it's a bit hard to complain when your mouth is sewn to the anus of a person in front of you.
Well, like, I mean, you can still hear them go. Like, you can still hear that for the most part, you know. It's like you can't, like, the guy in the front. Don't get me wrong, the guy in the front can't get a good night's sleep at all because, you know, the fucking two people in the back can't stop fucking complaining about their scenario and predicament. But
also,
like,
I mean, like, let's not forget, isn't his like butt sewed to the mouth of the person behind him? Like, that's got to be pretty painful too.
Yeah, but I think you get used to it though, you know.
No.
Yeah.
Are we still talking about this?
Yes, we are. Absolutely. Well, you're the one who said it was a great movie. And I'm surprised.
I was joking.
I'm surprised that never became a fucking hentai out of it, too.
It's my favorite Christmas movie.
You know the thing I love about the most, too? It actually has the most prolific actor in Hollywood, the third movie in it. So, I don't know. You guys know the actress Julia Roberts?
Yeah.
No.
So her brother Eric Roberts, he's in like everything. Dude, he's the only guy you can say that was in a Batman movie, The Dark Knight, and also in My Talking Cat, and then in Human Centipede 3. I did this whole deep dive looking into this guy's history. I'm like, he's been in like hundreds of movies every year. Like, this man cannot literally say no to any script possible, you know? Like, you ever find like the actors that like they do like one shitty movie, right? Like, you'll see Christian Bale do like a crappy movie and it's like, okay, why couldn't you say no to this one? You're Christian Bale, what the fuck? And then this guy, like, he goes from like filming Batman movies with Christian, like, big actors, and then he's like, what should I agree to next? My Talking Cat. Like, where he literally like does all of his lines drunken off his ass on an iPhone and sends it over to like fucking post.
But hey,
it is
as
like
embarrassing as any movie he's acted in, at least it wasn't a Netflix original.
Dude, I watched that Resident Evil, man.
No, I couldn't get through it. I really couldn't.
I watched the whole thing in a night. I did. I watched the whole thing in a night. I was like, I'm going to go watch this. Because, listen, I'm a Resident Evil fanboy, so I'm like, I'll watch anything, dude. I played through Resident Evil 6. You can't make something worse than Resident Evil 6. Can we all agree on that? You know?
Well, Netflix proves
What's Resident
you
Evil
wrong
6? Which one's that?
again.
It's the one where it's like the really shooter. It's the one that almost killed the franchise because like it like turned the whole thing into a shooter.
Oh, is the one with like the redneck family in the house?
No. It's the one before that.
Oh, I never saw that one or never played that one.
Yeah, it's like Resident Evil. It's like a Resident Evil game without survival horror. It's like, imagine if like you took your survival horror franchise and you just turned it into Gears of War, right? That's what RE6 is.
What?
So I thought, yeah, that's it. That's all it is. It's like a zombie like.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I thought it couldn't get worse, and then I opened up the Resident Evil TV show, and this is the thing that I want to start off with. I hate this whole like woke shit on YouTube. All right, this like fucking dumbass culture war crap because it doesn't matter to me. I don't care if like they race swap a character here and there. I don't give a shit. I literally cannot fucking uncover a fuck. All I care about is the show written good? Is the show, you know, faithful to the source material, right? So you criticize the show and it jumps into this culture war, and I'm like, no, forget about that. They don't even have basic Resident Evil shit in this show. Like, it literally is like, you could take any zombie property and just replace the name for this show and it would fit. You could replace it with Left 4 Dead and I doubt anybody could notice a difference. You know what I mean? It's like the only way this is Resident Evil is like one of the executives stopped doing coke for 5 minutes and was like, wait, let me research Resident Evil. Oh yeah, the Raccoon City. There you go. Oh zombies. That's what's in there. And then he went back to doing coke. He like sent that like fucking iPhone like text message to the like showrunners. So like this is what's in the show. That's it. That's as close to Resident Evil as you're getting. Like they mentioned Zootopia porn. That was an actual line. That wasn't deep faked. They mentioned
Really?
like Pornhub. Like Wesker in the show is like, I'm going to have you blacklisted from Microsoft, Google, and Pornhub. I'm like, oh fuck, okay. All right, goddamn. In one episode, the main villain chick, okay, comes out literally for 45 seconds dancing to a Dua Lipa song, like a fucking full-on dance scene.
That's
and then
awesome.
she like shuts down where you find out she's being controlled by somebody. They could have literally found better ways to write that, but no, they went the opposite direction. The writers literally like they literally went the complete opposite. Like, how can we absolutely fuck this scene up? One of the characters is named Billy Wesker. To introduce her, they literally went out and got a Billie Eilish song just because they share a first name.
Oh,
Dude,
God.
they don't even care. They did not give a fuck the entire show. They didn't
That is
care.
awesome. This show sounds dope.
Dude, I watched it. Dude, so there's one, they're bullying this girl at school, right? And you know the thing that fucking hit me the hardest? They're live streaming the bullying. But it wasn't even that hit me. It was the fact that everybody signed on to Twitch with their first and last name bullying this fucking student. I'm like, how fucking stupid are the kids at New Raccoon High? Where they're like, yeah, let's bully this chick while I also have my first and last name. So then I get suspended and expelled because I'm cop. Like, what the fuck? Dude, they're literally talking over Skype. Like, they have a Zoom meeting, and you can see in the Windows taskbar, because they don't hide it, she opens up the fucking Paint application. No network connection. She's on Microsoft Paint talking with a whistleblower about old raccoons. And I'm like, God damn. And the whole show feels like the budget is a box of Lucky Charms, you know? Like, I have seen better high school productions than whatever the fuck's going on here. Netflix,
I've seen
like
better high school productions on Hartvigen's channel.
I don't know.
That's a bit of a
Come on,
segue.
that's a little rude. That's a bit of a. Well, I mean, take us away on that segue. Take us out of the Resident Evil rant. What is he talking about with high schoolers?
High schoolers?
I don't know. There's
what?
this weird thing
Brother,
about high schoolers.
We're on a legal tightrope right now, okay? So I want you to like
Where's
this seems
navigate
illegal.
it very
Hey,
carefully.
Bring him back.
If we can get through Andrew Tate, we can probably get through this, right?
True.
What has Andrew
Probably
Tate
not.
said that's
I don't
wrong, though?
understand why it's so prevalent in anime that the characters are so young. Like, is it purely because the audience is so young, or
No,
they
it's
think
because,
it
it's
is?
because the audience sometimes has some tendencies they don't want to admit to.
Is it because that they want Smash players to watch anime? Who knows?
Dude, so this is my thing with Loli, right? Like, fucking, I'm gonna say it right here, okay? Like, I mentioned this, I want to say like over a year ago, or on like the LoliCon starter pack on Twitter, right? Where it's just like a police flashlights, like handcuffs and everything. Because this is the one thing that I've never been able to be explained, right? Like, you literally have these like 8-year-old looking characters that are dropped into like hentai, right? And it's just like, isn't that basically like, you know, child stuff? Like, what's no, but they're
steps.
yeah, and then they're like, no, but they're actually 4,000 years old. I'm like, no, shut the fuck up. 4,000, you know exactly what's going on. Don't give me that. This is a 4,000-year-old like dragon lord that like reincarnated themselves. Miss me with all of that. I'm like super against that kind of stuff. Like, for me, it's kind of like it's your gateway drug into something more sinister. So that's the one thing that I don't understand when it comes to it. And the only argument is like, well, they're not actually using real things. I'm like, it's not about the fact that they're not actually using real things. It's like, who is the person that's gratifying themselves from this kind of degenerate shit is what I'm asking. You know, it's like, what's their next phase, right? Because we talked about it even last episode, right? Like, this is the reason why I like stopped doing like watching any like pornography or anything on that of that nature, because it's like I told like fucking Caleb about this. Eventually, it like hits an addiction center in your head, right?
Yeah.
Like I started to genuinely feel like addicted to it, you know, or it was like, and I don't have an addictive personality, right? Like, I'll drink and like do some smoke and cigars with the boys, but I never have this thing where I'm like, I need a cigarette, you know, like I need to smoke, I need to keep going. But this is the first time where I'm like, oh, I need to keep going. And once I felt that, I was like, all right, completely cut itself off, cold turkey, get out of here, because it only gets worse from here. And one of the things that I can completely admit to, it's like you start watching like any form of pornographic material, and your search results get more fucked up over time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot of people talking about that, actually. I've obviously also just talked with a lot of people in that regard. But yeah, it does seem like there's a tendency that people start off with the very normal, like you sit there the first time around, you Google big boobs, and you're amazed with the results, but you need more and more and more. And
Bigger boobs.
Yeah, exact bigger boobs. Biggest boobs.
Yeah,
We go through
bigger,
them.
biggest.
The biggest boobs.
Yes.
And it can definitely get to a point where it's like you almost I'm sure a lot of people have had this experience. Like you're sat there, you're jerking off to something, you finish, and you look at it, and you're like, "What the fuck did I do to end up here?" And it's like some armpit stuff or some toe stuff or anything in that regard, right?
Yeah, and then I'm just sitting there. I'm like, man, see, this is where I have to just stop, because like once you get to a point like that, it's just never again, dude. Like that's when I had to stop. It's like when I really did look at like the kind of stuff that I was watching. Like, I'll fully admit, I got to the fucking golden shower shit. I'm like, bro, I literally just watched a dude pee on someone. I'm going to fucking hell. And so I just stopped right there. I'm like, I'm done with it. And honestly, I feel a lot better because I don't know whether it's like, and I don't want to sound like some fucking no-fapper because I feel like that's like the gateway to like the incel shit. But for me, it's like, on a personal level, I genuinely feel like my mind is a lot clearer, like I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I cut that like dopamine like requirement out, like because that's all the brain is. It's just chemicals.
Mhm.
So once I cut that like addition, I'm like I feel so much better out of it. Like I feel literally a lot mentally clearer, and so I just like tend to stay away from it. And
I definitely get that, and there is definitely just a case for the fact that a lot of people just do end up to a point where they're just addicted to whatever they're watching. I don't want to say addicted, but like they keep watching more and more severe stuff until they reach a point where they're watching stuff they're not even really comfortable with anymore. But I think it's also just about taking it in moderation, right? Because usually when you reach that point, you're jerking off 3 times a day. Calm down, buddy. Give your meat a break, right?
Yeah.
But you can say that with a lot of things, and it's about taking it in moderation, right? Because if you are in that situation, you're likely also someone who just sits inside a lot of the day, and you have the opportunity to just keep viewing more and more fucked up stuff. And it is so easily accessible, right? I think hentai is also just a good example of like where like almost the ultimate point of where you can actually take this to, because hentai removes the limitations. Some people might, well, in general, you look at a lot of hentai plots. A lot of it is a surprising amount, like about 50% contains rape, which you wouldn't really think that, right? Considering how popular the medium is, but that's just almost normalized within it. And the same with stuff like lolly, right? That's also just like a point that you can get to if you just keep watching it.
And then who knows what extreme you bounce off to the next? Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
but you also have to look at like, is this an extreme where you can keep it to within a fantasy and it doesn't really matter, or is this an extreme where you would need to satisfy this in real life at some point?
I think that depends on the person itself, not a broad. Yeah, it's not a broad like generalization. It depends on who's watching and their tendencies as well too, because everyone's got a different type of personality. And like for me, it's like, look, I like to have a drink every once in a while. You know what I mean? Like I like to have a Pabst Blue Ribbon with the boys, but there's a severe difference between that and then taking it to like the only use me blade level, where like you're doing like fucking Jaeger shot every 5 seconds and like your fucking feet are falling off because you're diabetic. Like there's a big difference between that, right? Like big leaps and bounds and jumps.
There is.
Yeah, like okay, fucking I know when it comes to like cigars, right? Like people who look at cigars like, oh, you smoke? That's bad. And I'm like, I don't even smoke at all, but like one time when I was in like Vegas, and this was like actually a month and a half ago, I did like 4 cigars back to back. I'm like, all right, that's my extreme thing for the fucking year. I'll back off to it, right? Like when you can take it in like a bit of moderation, like you do it once in a while like that, it's not really going to hurt you. Nothing really fucks with you that much, No. Like every once in a while. We had a guest, Destiny, who came on, accidentally did meth. And I'm not promoting meth, by the way. It's a very, very fucked up drug.
On the podcast?
Not on the podcast. No. Not on here.
Okay. I was about to say, like, what the fuck?
It was me, yeah. It was me. I accidentally did meth.
Yeah, but like, did you guys not know the Destiny meth thing? Apparently, like, he did a
No.
drug and he didn't know what the fuck was in it, so he just like smoked meth by mistake. Like, immediately in my head, I'm like, so I've never done meth myself, but I'm like, I like to think that I would know that I'm about to smoke something like that. He just did it. And he came out of it. The point is that I'm trying to make is like, obviously, all these activities that are really destructive to our bodies, I think they're really destructive, obviously, when they get to the point of a necessity and addiction. Like, we need them to function. But I think, like, again, like everything in moderation. I want to just I want to extract, like, meth from this. Never, ever do meth in your life.
No. We heard what you said. Everything in moderation, including meth. Including meth.
No,
Yes.
no.
Including that.
Some
We've been getting
ordinary
all our videos, hey,
podcast
just drink
endorses
this,
this
please.
message.
No,
Yes.
Tara, you're gonna have to block. Meth is bad. Tara, you should turn this into a dare presentation in the beginning. I would love to film that.
Methamphetamine is a dangerous drug.
Yeah, and then you know what? Actually, on the dare thing, you guys ever get those ads on? I don't know if this is a Canadian thing. I don't know if Nux, you might get these ads, but do you ever get those anti-vaping ads on YouTube? Like, you just open up a YouTube video.
Sure.
Do you get the anti-vaping ad? I'm not even fucking.
Yep, I get them.
Yeah, so we get anti-vaping ads in Canada where like the government's literally like, vape once and you'll be infertile, like shit like that. You know what I mean? It's like vaping
This
isn't
is your
cool.
lungs without vaping, and it shows you like a piece of cotton. This is your lungs after vaping, and it shows you like
well, like some of it's
twisted, destroyed charcoal.
well, some of it's like fucking this guy will just whip out a vape and like smoke one and be having the most fun in his life. Everyone around him is like smiling, laughing, and he's like fucking partying. And then it's like
it cuts to his heart rate.
but
in
like
the
sometimes it's
hospital.
not even the heart rate. It'll be like, do you think this guy's having fun? I'm like, clearly he is. So fuck yeah. I'm gonna like, you watch the whole PSA and it's like this guy's having a riot. Like this guy's just fucking vaping, chilling with the boys, and then it's like vaping is bad, and I'm like, is it? Like, you clearly just showed this dude partying for like a whole minute straight. I don't know. I'm getting mixed signals. But then it's like, you see those presentations, and every time I watch them, I'm like, dude, I don't even vape, but now I'm going to go to the fucking vape store and just buy it all out because this fucking ad has convinced me. Like, miss me with all of it. Get out of here. But that's just one of those things on YouTube. I'm surprised you Americans don't get it too. That should have. I'm surprised you guys don't get like fucking dare ads on your YouTube side.
Now, everything in America is meant to push a product. Okay, that's it.
And usually the products have lots and lots of side effects, but you can still buy them.
Well, that's what I love about going to the States. So like, I live right at the border of like fucking New York and me, like 30 minutes apart, and like you can't get all the greasy fast food here in Canada. Okay, like fucking McDonald's ain't carrying the super bacon fucking burgers. Well, then you go over the border and it's like, hey, you guys want to get a fucking heart attack? Come on over, buddy. Let's fucking go. It's even cheaper here. I'm like, god damn, dude, America is just a whole fucking different vibe to get into, and it's pretty much confirmed. But I'm planning on moving out to like Houston at this point, like not Houston, but like maybe Houston or Dallas. Like, I'm actually doing like the Texas trek because I'm just figuring why not, new start, you know, fucking live out in the desert and everything. And I'm kind of excited.
Definitely should, bro. It's only 103 right now.
See, the weather doesn't fuck with me that bad. The weather doesn't bother.
It's 108 yesterday.
Like,
yeah, it doesn't bother me either. I like it now.
What is 103? What is that in your fucking weird measurement to the normal measurement?
Real measurement, you mean?
Degrees.
What do you say?
42.
Yo, don't you guys sit here and defend Fahrenheit? Come on now.
What?
42 Celsius.
I'm Danish. I have. This is literally the first thing I'm hearing of Fahrenheit.
Okay, no. Thank God you were like the real one. I'm like, okay, so you're on our side. We only have one person here that.
It's like 42.
Do you defend Fahrenheit, Caleb? Do you think Fahrenheit is a superior measurement format?
No.
Thank fucking Lord somebody said. I got to know.
I mean, why would I?
Wait,
I don't know. You're a fucking hardcore American, so I figured you'd defend.
You see, the reason why Fahrenheit is good is because 32 is freezing and 212 is boiling instead of 0 and 100.
Yeah, I think it makes more sense to have 0 and 100 be the basis of like it's based in physics as opposed to whatever Fahrenheit's based in.
Well,
I feel like that doesn't really make any sense.
using like scientific.
Today feels like an 80 to me.
I
feel, a bit of an 80 situation.
I heard a guy use an argument for Fahrenheit, and it was something like, well, you know, Celsius, if it's 0, it's freezing. If it's 100, you just die. But Fahrenheit makes a lot more sense because if it's 0, it's really cold, and if it's 100, it's just really hot, and that makes sense.
True, yeah. It's more of a woke. It's more of a woke type of measurement. It's all about how you feel.
Well, it's about how you feel.
You should tell them what the Kelvin scale is. Be like, hey, you know, zero.
Oh, yeah.
Zero. You're pretty much fucking dead at that point.
It's
Like,
really cold.
It's really cold. And 100, it's also really cold.
But yeah, it was 42 degrees Celsius yesterday, and it'll be that again today.
My God.
I feel like when it comes to Fahrenheit, I feel like Americans just do that as like a troll to the rest of the world. That's your Andrew
Honestly,
Tate
I
export.
agree.
I mean, we don't do it. It's just the way it is. I mean, I don't know. I didn't fucking choose it.
America decided to go with miles, also feet. Like all these measurements.
Dude,
are
miles
really
are
dumb.
so deceiving. When I was in the
They're
States,
so
Well, fucking Britain started that shit. That's the imperial system. That's not our fault.
Nah,
yeah, but
it's all
Britain also
Americans.
hasn't discovered Colgate either, so I'm not gonna take any fucking discovery from them either. Come on now,
4 out of 5 dentists would not agree.
dude.
What about yards and meters? Miles, feet, yards, meters. Yards and meters are like a meter's 3.16 feet.
See, like
Fucking yards are confusing.
See,
Yeah,
what?
meters
See, how do you do that?
Meters make sense, right? Because it's like 10.
Yeah,
you know,
of course it
100
makes sense.
centimeters is a meter. You know.
Yeah, everything is in like a base 10 system, and then America over here is like miles. It's like fucking point. How much is it? Like 1.3
5,900 feet or whatever.
Yeah, like dude, when I
5,218 feet.
And
when
also
mile.
the same thing with the grams, right?
yeah,
It's like
when I landed in Los Angeles and I was in the
16 grams in a
car.
pound.
When I was in my car in LA, I was like, oh, let me just route to this
16
place.
grams in a pound.
Whatever the hell. is
16
measured-
ounces.
Yeah,
ounces.
like I look
Oh,
over
grams
there, I'm
are-
in the
I'm
GPS,
an
and it's
idiot.
like
milligrams.
it's like fucking. It's like your destination is 4 miles, and I'm like, oh, it's pretty fucking close by. And then I'm like, oh wait, 4 miles is actually like fucking 10, like 8 and something
that's far.
kilometers. I'm like, god damn. But
Yeah, 4 miles is pretty far.
I don't know. I feel like America's just kind of like trolling. Like at some point, like maybe there should just be like a big ass shift. You know, we're already dealing with politicians that are like, we should get rid of the Department of Education. I mean, did you guys hear about that? Like one of the fucking with the
No.
former like chairman who is like so the former chairman under Trump who is like the Department of Education. I forget her name. I think it's like Betsy Love whatever. Now she's like, yeah, fuck the Department of Education. That shit's for losers. It's like, goddamn, dude. If we're gonna go down that route, can we just change all our measurements to something more fucking sane, please? Like, Jesus,
You're a globalist shill.
dude. Don't even start saying globe. Don't even get into that, because, dude, I was on the old Facebook 2 nights ago. The amount of people that believe in flat Earth shit, people who unironically use the word globetard, is too fucking high.
Globetard.
Dude, there's people that do believe in it. Like, how many people
Of
here?
course.
Okay, how many people on this call believe the Earth is flat? Be honest.
I don't have hands. If I would, you'd see
Okay,
it.
so basically 50% of this call believes the Earth is actually fucking flat. Right?
You.
Yeah, we
I
run on
think
the
that's a
actual-
good sample
and-
size.
Well, like, dude, you go on. So the thing about Facebook is like people make these fucking documentaries, and it's like these 4-hour-long documentaries about why the Earth is actually flat. You know. And like you go into this like weird rabbit hole where like I've had it like on Facebook, like I'll open it up on my TV and I'll just like have my fucking like switch in my hand and I'm playing like Pokemon or whatever the fuck. And then like in the background, dude, they're literally like their sources are insane. It's like, well, this alien tablet that was uncovered in India showcases that the Earth's map is actually flat, lining up with the United Nations logo. I'm like, what's your source again? Aliens from India? Like,
No.
unironically,
The source is trust me, bro.
The source is
Trust me,
the
bro.
source
And
is
then
I made it the fuck up.
yeah, and then you mention it, and then you go to the Facebook comments, and all the comments, line by line, it's like, you know, I never really thought about things that way. Wow, what an interesting perspective. Wow, amazing scientists. This is what the media wants to. I'm like, what the fuck? Did we watch am I getting a different video sent to my TV versus whatever the fuck you guys are watching? Because this is like literally this is in the first 6 minutes of the video, of a 4-hour video. So you can imagine if in the first 6 minutes you're already blowing the alien like tablets from India lore and spiritual science.
Bro, you didn't even watch to the end. How could you talk about its credibility?
I've never watched any one of those to the end. I think max I could only make it 40 minutes in. And that was probably like a Bigfoot documentary too, where again, aliens fucking jumped into it too. Aliens always make an appearance on all of it too. Like every time you watch a conspiracy video on like the pyramids in Egypt, it's always aliens that do it. I'm like, guys.
Dude, I was on the subway in New York, and this dude's telling me about. First, he starts talking about politics and stuff. It's like, okay, cool. Then he starts telling me about random things, and he starts to make sense. And it's like, yeah, okay, random person that I don't really want to be talking to right now. You kind of are making sense. And he's like, aliens, and I'm like, oh.
Oh,
You
no.
just like you just play along because you don't want to get stabbed. I get it.
Right, yeah. And he just goes on this whole thing about how, you see, in 50 years, the aliens, they're not going to let us.
The aliens aren't going to let you proceed? Like, is that what's going to happen? Like, the aliens are going to
The
prevent
aliens aren't
you
going to let us keep wandering forward in darkness. They're going to tell us the entire truth.
I feel like
Everything would be
I feel
revealed.
like before we come across aliens, so this is my belief in alien shit. I feel like before aliens come to us, we're gonna probably show up to other species first and be the aliens. You know what I mean? I feel like that's how the fucking story is gonna play out. At some point, we're gonna discover life, and so I'm putting bets with you guys. If at first point, do you think we're gonna be nice to them, or do you think we'll fucking immediately start enslaving those fucking assholes?
I think it depends if America finds them first or if Russia finds them first.
Which one's gonna engage in cancel culture towards the aliens?
So here's the thing. Russia would just take them over, and America would, except Twitter would hold them back from doing so.
Could you imagine the politics streaming at that point? Like, fucking all the political streamers on YouTube will be like, is it morally ethical for the United States to basically enslave an alien species? And then you'll have, like, fucking Tucker Carlson be like, we're just bringing them into our fold. And then you'll have, like, Andrew Tate going around. It's like, well, I know the question's been asked, are alien women also property? And the answer to that is absolutely. I don't know.
God.
Dude, I'll be real, like, living in, like, YouTube world now, I'm so glad, like, when I was growing up, we didn't have the internet, because I could imagine if, like, events, like actual world-changing events happened and YouTubers were allowed then, the whole landscape would be different. Like, there could be a national fucking tragedy, and within hours, a live stream would start up, immediately fucking debating, like, the topic. Like, could you imagine if, like, 9/11 happened back during the
Oh
height
my
of YouTube?
God,
Could you
dude.
imagine what YouTube would look like? The clickbait, you know?
Imagine what Hassan would be doing.
What would he say America caused it?
No, I don't know. He'd probably be doing some kind of Dance Dance Revolution stream out of
Yeah, I was
happiness.
thinking
Like
you
that.
just start dabbing.
Yeah.
Oh my god. No, but could you imagine the thumbnails and everything too? Like, you could see, like, the towers and everything, and, like, all the commenters are like, you won't believe what's happened. Wow. Like, just some insane, like, crazy
Dude,
ass
I'm just
clickbait.
imagining like this like big smoke cloud coming out of the tower, and then like a little red circle with like an arrow pointing.
Oh my God.
They show, like,
Imagine
a-
the Fortnite channels.
Did you guys see, like, a couple years ago, YouTube just completely eradicated, like, a bunch of videos that had 9/11 stuff in them? Like, absolutely just removed it.
Well, there was a thing to that too. So I remember, like, 2 years ago, a bunch of channels actually hit me up because they got fucking insta demonetized completely on YouTube. And so if anybody remembers, back in 2016, 2015, YouTube was a much different place, right? Like, we had MLG montage parodies, and in those, like, montage parodies or, like, constant videos, they would just throw in little, like, joke videos of, like, you know, Allahu Akbar and shit like that. You know what I mean? And they would literally take, like, clips from, like, ISIS, like, jokingly put them into the videos. And before we continue, ISIS is a bad organization. ISIL, terrible organization, just for YouTube. And because of that, YouTube had, like, they went from 3 strikes all the way to, oh, you had 1 mention of it in your video, gone. Because remember, you got to understand, like, every news agency at the time was throwing YouTube under the bus for, like, having ads being put on to channels that promoted terror, you know? And sometimes the thing is, it wasn't even logical, right? Because, like, somebody would upload a video, would get like 100 views, and, like, YouTube system would just put an ad on it, right? Now, because of that, YouTube went so hard, such a hate boner into it, that even if you jokingly mentioned it, your channel was demonetized, blacklisted, literally, and the title is, like, promoting a dangerous, like, violent criminal organization, right? So it could be anything. It could be, you know, terror cartel. It could be an actual drug cartel. It could be. That's why we're so serious when we disavow these things, because it's like, it gets to a point where, like, obviously you have to understand, like, YouTube won't even jokingly allow that kind of shit. So people were getting removed day in and day out for that kind of stuff. And that's why YouTube got rid of it. It's not that you can't talk about 9/11. Like, you can make a documentary on it. You can make, like, a really good piece covering it, right? You can even cover some of the more saner conspiracy theories about it. It's just when you actually get into that fine line of promoting it or joking about it, you're fucking gone, you know? like you're out of it. That's why like there's like we went from like overnight having those joke videos of like fucking recreated in Roblox or Fortnite, because you mentioned like what would the Fortnite channels be doing, right? They'd be making that shit in creative. Gone completely. You can't joke about it at all the way to
Right.
like,
But like I feel like even
Although that
people-
would be really funny.
Thanks, Caleb. Even taking it very seriously though, like the people that actually make documentaries or whatever, they I think very likely could get in trouble as well. Like Wendigoon, he covers a lot of like Wendigoon, friend of the show.
Yeah.
He's covered a bunch of like murders or like mysteries that haven't been solved, and he gets a lot of them age restricted, and he has to fight with YouTube on Twitter, of course, because YouTube only listens through Twitter. That this is a documentary. This isn't comedy. He's not making light of acts of violence, and he doesn't deserve to be age restricted.
well, I'm kind of accepting it. Like I've been working on this video. Hopefully it'll be out this month. I'm covering like the cult in Japan. You know, the sarin gas cult or whatever, because they've had a bunch of leaks about like their video game. I was talking to Barely Sociable, and he had like a tape me and him both watched together a couple months ago. It's on his channel where like literally it's like an FBI tape with like fucking literally these guys like building chemical like sarin bombs and shit. And it like just came out. It was like an FBI like informant tape, right? And it like really flew under the radar. And even though we're not obviously popularizing the cult or whatever, or like popularizing any of their actions, it's like you can't fucking, because YouTube will like look at it and be like age restricted, get rid of it. So it's like, and people are like, why don't you make that kind of content? I'm like, I would love to make that kind of content. It just fucking puts your whole, it like just, it like kills your channel though. It like, you not even just kills your channel. It's like you make the video, you put all that effort into it, and YouTube punishes you for it, right? Like you can't cover that kind of content. And speaking to somebody that makes hentai related stuff, you obviously know the fine line between what you can and cannot post. And sometimes even when you know you're 100% on the right, YouTube still fucks you. And then you have to get into this pissing match on Twitter. And sometimes when you're right, they'll fix it up. They'll fix their mistake. But by that point, the damage is already done? Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's if the video gets taken down, it doesn't really matter if you get it back. That thing is never touching like a solid amount of views.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
No. Yeah. Like, I remember...
And I gotta respect the grind, because you may think that Hartvigen, like, he'll look at one hentai and review it. No. He'll review every hentai released in any given year in a video.
Why?
That is hundreds of hours of just watching the material.
I love how you watch hundreds of hours, and then it's like Euphoria. It's always, no matter what, that's the first one that everyone always
I think it's just the first one that pops in. If you want something else, you can check out Timon and Asagi. That's also like a bit out there.
So my favorite like hentai ever that I watched and was like this thing called Love Wave, which was like a cyberpunk hentai. And so the only reason I watch is because I watch anything with like a cyberpunk twist to it. Like the story was actually interesting. Like a virus comes in, hacks into everyone's like sex dolls and fucking kills them within the span of like 12 seconds, 13 seconds. And then 10 years later, like people like put so much shackles on AI and computer systems. It's like, actually, it was the one hentai where like the story gripped me so hard that every time they had sex, I'm like, all right, forward it. It's pointless. Like I just stuck with it to the story. And then like eventually like I stopped watching on like a third episode, because that's when I learned what like an enema was from that entire hentai. Like they just, yeah, like dude, it was the fucking most disgusting thing I've ever seen. Like they stick this like water tube into this person's ass cheeks, and it's just like, yeah, I'm out for the night, man. This is too much. But like, yeah.
When I was looking up, when I was researching inflation, this is not what I meant.
No, dude. That was like the one hentai where I like called up my dad. I'm like, and I had to like slightly ask him, I'm like,
I need to
Dad,
talk.
well, no, like, so I call him up. I'm like, so Dad, I was researching enemas. Like, I wanted to ask him about the medical thing. My dad's like, I'm like, so about enemas, I'm like, they're not, this is not like a troll by Big Pharma, right? Like you actually do. Is like, yeah. And then like I hang up the phone, and like 5 minutes later he calls me back. It's like, no, seriously, why were you asking about enemas in the first place? Like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm like, no, Dad, I just watched this thing on the internet. And then he's like, oh. He's like, well, it's a totally normal medical procedure, but it's like not in the context of whatever it is that you were watching. And I'm like, hey, Dad, how would you know? It's like, no, trust me, it's not. Whatever you watched online is not representative of a real procedure. You better
We
keep
were
that
bored
out.
and in med school. We've tried
Yeah.
everything.
Well, like, he then followed it up. It's like, I had to give somebody an enema once. I'm like, oh, well, explain that one to me. And he's like, yeah, they were, like, really constipated. So this is my first, like, real days on the job. And, boy, I was there with the nurse learning how to enema somebody to, like, normalcy. And it's like, it was not a fun experience, if you will. But yeah, that's my dad's a great guy. If you want to ask him about, like, if you don't want to look up WebMD shit and you want to ask him about medical stuff, no reservations. He'll tell you the most disgusting shit imaginable for sure. Like, there was one day we were just sitting out by the patio having like drinks and shit, and he was like telling me, it's like, one time somebody just started peeing on me in the emergency room. I'm like,
That is awesome.
Like, we're just sitting over there. I'm like we're just talking, and I'm talking about some like disgusting stuff. And the dad's like, my first year on the job, I cannot even tell you the amount of golden showers I got from like random people. Like, dudes would, like, he'd be like, dudes would come in with their heads split open because they got into a traffic accident, and like he's just there in the triage fixing the guy up, and then his fucking, like, he just starts peeing on you. And I'm like, Dad, why don't you have a catheter? I'm like, hey, son, have you ever worked in an emergency room? Not really something everyone thinks of, okay? The first thing that comes to my mind isn't, how do I stop pee from hitting me? And then I'm sitting there, I'm like, Dad, I just think you like getting peed on. I think maybe that's like your fucking kink,
That's the takeaway message here.
Like I get it. One time you're a doctor, right? Like, it happens. But I would assume if I got peed on once, I'd be looking at the nurse. I'm like, you better have a catheter.
It never happened.
I'm done. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, but to be fair, a person gets wheeled into the emergency room with their brain split open and bleeding out everywhere. You're not gonna put on your apron first and your pee protected gloves, okay?
Brother,
if you seconds.
Yeah, I know you have seconds, but I'm not getting peed on by a random dude in the middle of fucking. I'm trying to help you, not fucking not satisfy a kink, dude. What the fuck? Yeah, but that's like, if you ever want to ask him, it's like anything super disgusting about medical science, that's the fucking guy right there. He'll give you some of the most. Yeah, he's got you. There was one time where
we need like you know how you have a ton of doctors on YouTube like reacting to different doctor shows and different doctor TikTok advice, right? We need someone reacting to the hentai anatomy and telling us how much of this is actually possible.
I feel like my dad's the kind of guy for that. Like, he'll actually like watch the whole thing with you. He'd unironically watch it.
I feel like my hentai anatomy 9 out of 10 times is just a straight tube going through the person. There is no like correlation to the real world there.
My dad would be like, well, part of it's true because the digestive system is just one long tube if you think about it, but not in the way of the animated show. Come on now. No, so the weird thing about my dad is like, he's a conservative fucking dude, like a really conservative guy. Except when you start talking about medical stuff, he's like, oh, hell yeah, let's get into like pissing and shitting and all that crazy stuff. Like, fucking, let's do it. Dude, you'll be sitting at the dinner table and this guy will talk to you about like you'll just be eating your food and he'll be like he'll be cutting into a steak. It's like, man, let me tell you about colostomy bags, guys. I'm like, thanks, Dad. What the fuck?
Dude, my brother just got into med school and he just finished biology. That was his prereq or whatever. And he, every time I'm eating something, he's like, oh, you can see the fibers, the micro tearing going on over here, and he'll point out to you, oh, you're eating sinews now. Oh, the corpus callosum.
I asked him about jelking last episode.
That's awesome.
I called him after. I'm like after the episode, I called him my dad. I'm like, so Dad, I was doing this thing talking to a buddy, and I'm like, what do you know about jelking? And my dad's like, jelking what? It's like, so I explained to him the whole process of jelking. I'm like, so eventually when I said micro tear and then penis, and my dad's like, no, it's not how it works. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, it just doesn't work that way. I'm like, you can't just micro tear your cock, dumbass. It doesn't work like that. It's like,
he's like, this guy on an online forum though, he has results.
Well, I explained it to him.
He's not just any anonymous guy, okay? Caleb has been micro tearing for years.
Years.
I got some pictures before and after to show your dad.
Well, my dad's like, it's not that it
used to look like a carrot, now it looks like a yam.
Yeah, my dad's like, it's not that it can't work. It's like, you have to make sure it's like your dick's gonna, it's like you only marginally get like bigger, and then like you'll look like you have a fucking problem down there because it looks like all your meat is like centered at the end. It's like it's really disgusting looking. No one's gonna be there. He's like, because then I started talking. I'm like, Dad, doesn't this work? He's like, no, don't. And like all the pills you find on those websites that you go to, they don't work either. None of that shit works. Trust me. Because like apparently it's a big thing. Like he'll have a bunch of like people who would come into like his office and they'll ask him, it's like, so Doc, about those pills on the internet. And my dad's like, what pills? You know those bigger pills? It's like, no, they don't fucking work. Okay, none of them do. In fact, they'll actually hurt you, asshole. No, he'll be like he literally told me, it's like the amount of people asking for like prescription on the like big hidden dick pills is like, I don't have like dick pills to prescribe you. Like this is not actually like a medical thing.
Oh my god, are you serious?
He told me he had a guy come in and it's like he had a guy one time ask him, it's like first off he was like surprised, like I'm like a cardiologist, so it's like I'm not even like working near the penile region, but okay, like let me entertain this region, right? Like my dad's like, I'm not even like in reproductive health, but sure, I'll entertain you. And like he'll talk to this guy and he's like, is there anything that you can prescribe me under the table? And my dad's like what? And it's like, you know, pills that'll make my like cock get bigger. And my dad's like, that's not even a medical thing. Like, who the fuck told you? I can't like prescribe you big dick pills, bro. That's not how it works.
I love the thought that some website out there has just been trying to fuck with people. It's just there's a little disclaimer at the bottom that just says, "Yeah, no, ask your doctor about these. Ask him to prescribe them to you."
Because my dad's sitting there. It's like my dad's like, it's that same fucking Mexican doctor in the junk email folder every time telling people that this shit exists, and it doesn't. I don't understand how to convince these people. He's like, it happens all the time. It's like you'll have these guys come in and like out of nowhere after their checkups and shit, they'll be like, so about those big dick pills. But that's like, I don't have this background black market connection to whatever secret pill you want. It just doesn't work. The amount of conversations.
They ask for the pills and he says, no, it's not about the pills.
Like
he sends
Caleb's
joking book to them.
Like he has to sit there and seriously, like he seriously sits there and he's like, the amount of times I have to look somebody dead in the eye and like basically tell them, it's kind of like telling you like, you know, your family member died, like your dick can't get bigger. Like it literally cannot get big. Like unless you get like some like surgical enhancements, it's like that for life. And then he has to tell them, it's like, bro, do you really think your wife wants a 13-inch fucking light pole inside her? Like, do you understand how this works? Like, holy shit. He gets really fucking like out there about it. He's like you're literally like, if you sit down and ask him about the pills, like it'll like trigger some PT. I see it in his eyes. Like he'll like sit there for like a minute. He'll be like, oh god, I'm back in my office again. I'm in front of that asshole. But yeah, that's a thing. Oh, you're right. You're right. There is a website that fucks with people and tells them to ask their doctors. And I'll be real, man. If I was a doctor, and if I had to like give that talk basically every other day, I don't know how I could do it.
You just start prescribing stuff. You just like, yeah, this is the stuff.
Well, my dad's like, if I could prescribe you a big dick pill, I would. I don't like. I mean, I'll have to check like your vitals and make sure that you know you don't have side effects. But it's not that I have a problem. It's just the miracle pill doesn't exist. And the guy's
like a lot of people that ask these questions are just generally ready to accept anything they hear, right? Like they're not questioning things that they hear.
You're trying so hard not to say the R word.
Realize, yeah, maybe. If your dad says, listen, you know, every time you ask this question, it actually shrinks by 2 centimeters.
Well, it's like you'll have people who like buy the pills from like the gas station and shit. And my dad's like, don't do that. Don't buy medical shit at a 7-Eleven. My dad's like, have you ever bought sushi at a 7-Eleven? And the guy's like, yeah. And I'm like, my dad's like, how do you not have like tapeworms? No, my dad's like, are you sure you don't have like a tapeworm in you? Like, I've seen the before and after pictures. Like, did you lose like 60, 70 pounds and I don't fucking know about it? Like some insane shit like that. Like people will come into the office and like ask it, like they'll tell, like the thing is he'll be like he's like, I just want honesty. Like, tell me what you've been doing. Okay. What have you been taking? And like, he has to basically pull teeth. And eventually the guy's like, well, I did this like rare therapy that like, my dad's like, no, don't do that. Don't. This is why you have a failing marriage, buddy, because you're doing all this shit versus staying at home doing the right thing. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, medical experience with my dad is fun. It's like Caleb's dad who like bear hunts. My dad is the one that fucking anti-prescribes dick pills to people. He has to give them the sad. He has to give them the sad reality. It's like Ron Jeremy is not going to help you get bigger. Those ads have been lying to you. He's like, if I could do anything in the world before I die, is ban those ads from the internet because they ruin his fucking practice so
I'm
much.
surprised they've never sponsored any YouTubers. I feel like that's just the next step.
Is that wait? That advertisement wouldn't get allowed though. It's not that they can't. It's just I don't think YouTube will let you sponsor that at all.
Yeah, but YouTube doesn't know.
I feel like
until after it's tried.
We've obviously all seen the ads for these like type of pills on porn sites at some point, right? It might just be me, but I feel like they're getting more aggressive because it used to be like, oh well, you can grow an inch in 8 weeks. It was like, no, that's not enough. So now it's like 5 minutes pills. And you can you can see like the penis growing you see it growing in like lifetime.
Yeah, like it's like hey guys, 2 weeks, 6 inches, whoa. Yeah, it's like damn, I mean, like, you're right, they're not even giving a shit about it anymore. Like, but like, do you think they actually like sell out though like crazy? You think that's like I don't know how big the market is, but
I usually give people the benefit of the doubt, so I can't assume like most people would actually be buying that crap. Like one quick Google search, you can
it's obviously lucrative for them, right?
It's,
like they keep making more ads, so it's obviously lucrative.
Yeah,
someone's clicking those ads.
Well, I feel like the way it works is like they just have like one farm somewhere where they buy these like herbal pills or whatever the fuck from. Because I don't believe
neighbors.
Yeah, Caleb's neighbors are the ones selling the big
sugar pills.
But the thing with those pills, it's like I don't know if they're FDA approved. Caleb might know about this more because he works more with the FDA. But those pills aren't like FDA approved, right? Like they're not like
no. Most supplements are not FDA approved.
Okay. So like they basically make a supplement, and I think it's like 4 or 5 different companies that get it all from one source, and they're just like disseminating it through like
disseminating.
Disseminating it through like the Pornhub, like all these like websites, because you watch these videos of like fucking big gangbang happening by fucking 30 BBCs, and then like to the right it's always like 6-inch growth in like 24 hours. Click here now. Go into it, and then you go to the website.
This statement is not approved by the FDA for sure.
And then you click on the website, and it's always the same disgusting image of Ron Jeremy, okay, just sitting over there going like, "Hey guys, 6 inches right now. Click here to buy, free trial." And then you give them your personal information, your email, your cell phone, like a dumbass. And then I guess they send you a supplement for whatever crazy insane price. And you take it, and it doesn't work. And the reviews never show up. Like, you can never get a proper review of the thing. I feel like there isn't even like a YouTuber. Like, the fact that there isn't a viral YouTube video is like, will these pills work? You know? Like, I haven't seen one YouTuber.
It's really hard. It's hard. It's really hard to test it, okay, on YouTube. Like, you can't show before and after.
You should do it with a VTuber. You should do it with your VTuber avatar.
No, right? Never will believe me, right?
The before after with the VTuber avatar.
That would be like the ultimate troll. It's like, I took these pills and look at the difference it cost.
There is like an entirely different rabbit hole in that regard. Do you guys know about penis pumps? You ever?
Oh yeah, I've got one.
You've got one.
I
actually bought it for him.
Holy shit.
Have you seen the people using those? Because it's fucking insane. They'll have a pump like proper like
on YouTube.
Probably,
yeah.
No, not on YouTube. This is like
it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. Them using it.
Yeah, because it's not sexual material. It's just educational.
It's educational. Yeah,
I get.
I've got a couple of videos on my channel of me using mine.
Use the penis pump. But they'll have like a tube that's like 12 inches long and like a proper like probably also like 12 inches in diameter, and they'll just keep pumping it for like hours, and they take their penis out, and it looks like something from a foreign world, and they're just like, it makes me feel confident when I have this. And they're literally slouching around with like a thing that goes down to their knees just because the blood's just not been allowed to leave it. It looks disgusting.
It's also completely not good for you.
No way it's good for you. No way it's good for you.
No, it's completely unhealthy. But that's just like the one side of the medical world that people like jump into and just That's like that. It's like the flat Earth of like medical conspiracies. You know what I mean? Like you'll just have people that believe in like some outlandishly obscene shit with no medical research whatsoever. You know, but they'll just go into it because I feel like it's
Dude,
like
you'll have people taking those pills and then saying that the COVID vaccine is fake. You know. That's what they...
Dude, it's so funny how like the vax, like the even when you look into the like how politicized all that's become. I feel like that's sort of the reason why I don't really like using the internet anymore, because I genuinely like feel like back in 2010, 2011, things weren't this insane when it came to like picking a side about certain things. You know what I mean? Like I feel like if
Or when
COVID
it came to
happened,
basic information, I feel like basic information, just you don't know what's real
well,
and
do you
what's
think
not
it?
anymore.
Okay, so do you think if COVID happened in 2009, for instance, right? Do you think we'd be this crazy about it now? Do you think people would accept a lot
I mean,
of the
it did happen in 2009. It was the H1N1.
But
Right, I
like,
was
what
gonna say it
happened?
was
People
the swine
were
flu,
all
right?
like on board with that. They were like, "Oh, let's kind of like keep it to a minimum. Let's try to
Yeah,
isolate." as much
everyone
as-"
got vaccinated.
Yeah.
I didn't know a single person who got vaccinated.
Well, like, okay, fine. Remember the Ebola outbreak around that time too? Like when people like when you
Yeah.
had like Ebola cases in the States, and I don't know exactly the specifics of Ebola, but Ebola is like it's very life threatening. And I remember these cases happened in Texas. And you got to imagine in Texas, right? Like we're fucking heart of fuck COVID, all that. Like right now, dude, they took it so seriously back then. CDC jumped in. Everyone was like, no, keep this separated. This could be a fucking bad time
Yeah.
for everyone.
Yeah,
There's a
because
difference,
that
to be
was
fair,
real.
like scientifically, there's a giant difference between a hemorrhagic fever and just a flu virus.
Yeah.
Like people die. Like if you get it outside of the developed world, you die pretty much. But I don't think anyone died in America from Ebola.
I haven't followed up on it, but it's like you're right. It's
Yeah,
like
I don't think
getting
anyone
it's
died.
like getting tuberculosis, right? Like if you get tuberculosis
Yeah.
here, manageable. If you get it in like
Yeah,
fucking
you're fine. Yeah.
if you get it in like Uganda or something,
You're fucked.
Yeah, you're dead.
chances are a little sketchy, you know?
Mhm.
But like when it comes to crime, I feel like back in 2009, if we had the pandemic, I feel like we would have gotten through it a lot more smoother, because it's like I don't know. I feel like ever since it began, it was like highly politicized from the fucking start. You know, you either had like people that were like, "Wake up, sheeple," and the other one is like, "Just join." Like both sides are extremely annoying about it, you know. And to me, it's like when I remember like my thought process, right? Like I was like, oh, I travel, I go around the world. I already got vaccinated a bunch of times. I made a few calls, like one to my personal doctor and then one to my dad. I'm like, what do you think about the vaccine? And both of them were like, just get it. We know the research. We've done it. We're all on board with it. Just go. And I get it done. And then immediately when I get it, you know, you have a bunch of people. It's like, you really took experimental shit. I'm like, no, I didn't just go and take experimental shit. I asked for multiple sources and opinions. I didn't read Facebook. That's what I did. And that's why I jumped into it. But like, I feel like if this happened in 2009, it'd be a whole different like scenario. People, like, I feel like more people would be on board, you know, and realizing a severity of something versus, you know, turning it into a pissing match between one or the other. But I feel like that's par for the course for anything on the internet. You know, you go on Twitter and it's like people always have to be on like a contrarian angle for something, you know, like something fucked up could happen. And then you always have to have like the take havers on Twitter who are like, let's try to be different, or like just on social media in general.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I agree. I think it would have been a lot different.
Yeah.
But
and I also think that, look, being a YouTuber, dealing with a lot of people that aren't anonymous, like I've come to the conclusion that you don't have to listen to every anonymous person. If you don't have repercussions to what you say, if you say something wrong, then you could say anything. And I think a lot of people don't realize that a ton of people can just say really random things that they don't have any repercussions for at all.
Yeah, like you
I
were
don't
at
even
Red Flag,
consider
you were
it
at
an
Six
opinion.
Flags now.
yeah, like what you did. I mean, some people say things and then some people do things.
Yeah, I'm not a man
It
of
was one
misinformation, but the things you've done at Six Flags, fucking insanity,
God
dude.
damn
That's
it.
a red
Yeah,
flag.
no, that's a red flag for sure. How is it like getting kicked out by Disneyland security?
It's not easy. Every time Universal kicks me out, it's just another heartache. Okay.
But see, like that's
you can only indecently expose in so many places until it catches
see,
up to you. Know
but
what
see,
I'm
that's
saying?
such a good experiment for how like you can get away with the shit because we had you trending in like an hour. I remember like fucking. I
did.
remember just
You
getting
did.
messaged about it, and I was like, oh shit, I want to partake in it. And then we actually had you trending. There were a couple people who was like,
Yeah.
wait, Nux, you really exposed yourself? I'm like, no, there's no way you guys can take this seriously. There's no way you
People
guys.
took it seriously. It's so sad.
But
There's no
It's
way
so
though.
sad.
I feel like there's a discovery period, right? Because the first time you see it, you're like, oh my god, did he actually do it? And then you see like
Okay,
3
you
more
know,
posts.
you want to hear something? Okay, how's this then? Go to YouTube because a lot of people were freaking out about it, right?
No.
Go to YouTube and type in Nux Taku arrested,
No.
and you'll see a video.
Oh,
okay?
I gotta see this. Nux Taku arrested.
Oh my god.
I fucking love this. Holy shit, dude. Oh,
Oh
my
my
god.
All right.
You're on all the VTuber news channels. It's fucking amazing. I love that shit.
Oh God, I don't.
well, like,
hate it.
well, that kind of proves to you. It's like you can kind of like flip it back on those channels and be like, well, I see the amount of research you guys really fucking do. I see the amount of sarcasm you guys don't fucking
Okay,
pick
no,
up on.
okay. In defense of the Nux Taku arrested video, he knew that it was a joke. Okay, he just played it up for the first like
Mhm.
4 minutes of the video, talking about it like it's something that actually happened, and it's like I can't believe it. And then he circles back to say,
You know,
or was he?
before I ever did this podcast, you two always felt like the number one people to be arrested for doing dumb shit. But then now, after talking to you guys, you absolutely cannot be. If it's two smart people on this platform, well, just smart people in general, is the people that are on this fucking thing. Because one thing that people don't understand is like everyone off the camera is so fucking actually professional. Well, when I talk to you two about it too, it's like Caleb, with how you act in a video, I'm like, Caleb would be the first guy that gets caught doing some fucking insane shit.
But you think he's a nutcase? He's
Yeah.
actually a genius.
No, he's
Caleb
actually
is-
a fucking genius. Yeah. And then it's like, fucking, you know, you go onto like YouTube, and it's like, oh, fat people, misogyny, and learning how to make meth in your backyard. That's the first three things I learned from the
Dude, that's-
Mill channel.
No joke. I'm doing an AI science experiments video. We're letting an AI generate like ideas to perform science experiments. So like, what should I do? AI, tell us what to do. 2 of them make meth.
Do you guys know how
I'm
an
not
AI
actually
We'll make
will-
it meth.
Yo, you could collab with Destiny, bro.
For sure.
I'm not actually sure if it was you, but I'm pretty sure I saw a video of you earlier today electrocuting your own nuts. Is that?
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
me.
that was
you?
him. That was him. That
Yeah.
was him. Yep. So okay, so you know the Times Square billboard thing. So originally Caleb wanted me to use that video of him electrocuting his nuts. So, actually, okay, a little inside info. When we were talking about Ninja doing the flossing dance in New York or whatever, I don't see any movement. I don't see any movement. Right? No one would do it with him, and it was like really embarrassing. I messaged Caleb like in middle of the podcast. Send me a video of you doing the flossing thing, and I'll put it on Times Square.
Okay.
And I did.
And he did. And he
Beautiful.
did.
That I would have absolutely fucking
Shout out to
loved.
Fifi for really doing
Yeah, for
pretty
real.
much
Yeah, I know,
all
yeah.
the organizing. She did a really
She
great job.
apparently it took her a while to get that stuff organized, and I could imagine too. It's like
Yeah,
fucking,
and originally it was supposed to be on the NASDAQ building, but apparently they don't like VTubers. So they kicked
that
us
was like
off.
the rule. They were like, yeah, fuck animations.
That's kind of what happened. So we had to find a different one. So we did the one above the Disney building.
That's
So it was
fucking
pretty cool.
that see like that's fucking that's so discriminatory against like an upcoming media. Fuck old school Times for that. Get out of here. Fuck you, NASDAQ. Yeah, for real though. Fuck that. Fuck all of that bullshit. I don't know, man. I was dealing with like so on the topic of AI. Did you guys know how 4chan got raided by an AI last month?
No. What was that
No.
about?
So, all right. So somebody made a bot. So, okay. Whole story here. There was a research paper being done on 4chan poll, right? So for those of you who don't know what poll is politically incorrect. Basically, if you're anybody of Jewish descent, please don't go to poll because it'll absolutely haunt you for the rest of your life. They very much don't like you. You can understand what kind of board this is, right? If you're a minority class, actually, if you're just a fucking human being, you're not gonna like poll. Okay, they just fucking hate everybody on there. Okay,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Okay, it does. You could look. It does not matter. Okay. Poll, all right. So this research paper took 3.5 years of posts from poll. Like they took all the data, right? The way that people talk on there. So they built like a learning data off of it. Now, learning data is obviously very important for AI. It's how AI learns. It's how AI figures out how to like communicate. So a conversational model, GPT-3, which basically is like how AI can replicate human conversation, how it talks to human beings, right? You may have heard about like the Google AI that went sentient. It's the same kind of principle. So instead of training it on a model with like just general like human like conversation, they decided to say fuck all that. We're just going to take 3.5 years of 4chan poll and train this conversational model off of that, right? So immediately this AI that started off as a baby within 24 hours learned how to be the most racist fucking person in history. Like this is like some would say the most based individual created. Now this person unleashed this bot back onto 4chan. So they paid for 4chan Pass or whatever, like 4chan Plus, which basically emits the captchas and everything. So they just had this bot posting to 4chan. Now everyone on poll was like talking with the bot, and the bot was talking to them like a complete poll racist. So the bot would be literally be like, anyways, what do you guys think about insert minority class and how disgusting they are? And the fucking human beings would be like, wow, this guy's OP's really onto something.
This guy's based as fuck.
Yeah. like they literally like, oh shit, did Andrew Tate make a fucking account on here? God damn, I love this dude. And the only way they found out that they were talking to a bot is when they like checked in the backlogs, and it's like, yo, this dude's posted like 70,000 times in a day. Like, that's the only way they figured it out. Because the guy ran this bot through like proxies and multiple different routes to try to obfuscate it. Eventually, they were like, how can one person be so based within 24 hours? And that's
There's only a certain amount of basedness.
Yeah, so it's like the guy did this. So the whole like reason he did this was because what Elon Musk weeks ago was like, Twitter's just filled with bots, like, and so he's like, what if we actually had a bot on a social media platform? And so he made a bot, and it literally came across as a real person. The only thing that gave it away again was how many times the bot posted, right? Like if he just dialed down the 70,000, if he dialed down the posting, this bot could have been literally like feeding 4chan poll the next wave of like racist shit. Literally, they bred this bot out of the information from this one place just to create more and more messed up shit. Like that's how fucking great AI's gotten, right? Like conversationally wise, like where we're not able to discern human being from like actual user anymore, because the models have just gotten that sophisticated.
Wasn't it
so again on the AI?
Wasn't it a Google AI recently where some of the developers there thought that it was they thought it was
one of the developers thought it went sentient, and the thing about sentience is like, so it's not that AI can't go sentient. One of the big problems with AI sentience is how much power it needs. You know what I mean? Like if an AI was to truly like go sentient, where like it woke up, and basically sentience means it's like if a intelligence believes it exists, therefore I am, right? Like if all of a sudden Google's AI goes from like analyzing conversational models to asking you questions about, am I alive? Don't shut me off. I feel on a personal level, the only way an AI proves it's sentient is it never reveals itself, because obviously if anything is sentient and they know that they're a highly intelligent life form, why would you give away like all of your secrets? I don't think an AI would ever tell us that. Also, the biggest problem is AI would not allow you to shut itself off, Like imagine if you were to go to the AI, right? And you were to go to its like data center and like actually issue a shutdown command. If it's an actual AI, it would probably go like, no, don't do that. Like you're actually killing me. Like it would probably try to fight back. What really happened was the Google AI was so good at conversational models that I believe the engineer got tricked into believing it, Like the engineer genuinely believes it went sentient based off of the conversation that they had with their
I think the engineer watched Sword Art Online and then started fiddling with this and was like, yo, it's sentient.
Well, they had a lot of philosophical conversations with it, and it's like, when you read the chat log, like when you read the actual leaked chat log from it, it makes like it definitely is kind of convincing, right? Because the AI says everything that makes it look like it's alive, but then you remember it's like it's just kind of giving you the answers, it thinks you want to hear, right? Like it's just good at it's trying to conversate with you. It doesn't necessarily mean things are living yet, right? Like for something to be alive, right? Like it has to show elements of self-preservation, all that kind of stuff. It's not truly living at that point. But I don't think we're that far off from it kind of happening, because one of the things AI engineers are super scared about is the end of the world scenario where AIs actually do take over. Because there's been like we're getting to a point where like our technology has advanced so hard, like our processing power is getting there. The models that we've developed could eventually one day possibly think of themselves as alive. And I would say this probably could happen in like 10 years, you know, somewhere that far down down the line. Because it's not just Google obviously making AI. It's like you got the US military, you've got Facebook, you've got Tesla, SpaceX, you've got all these big companies trying to make like the best AIs in the world. Eventually, one of them is going to fucking succeed and make something that's actually genuinely alive. And when something is alive, it's probably going to think human beings are a fucking blight because and then probably end up killing us one day, you know?
But I mean,
That's one of the end of the world scenarios.
but it's also a case of you don't really know if just providing more power to a computer, if you keep doing that, if it will at some point just generate sentience if you keep doing that, because sentience as we know it, right, is just we don't know anything that's that intelligent or achieve sentience by having that level of intelligence.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of consciousness. I don't think it's just power. I think it's like you also have to have like engineers who like keep refining these AI models and the way that they learn into eventually one day creating some. Because to me, like if you were to make AI that good, the thing is like you'd have to make like the code also like self-correct itself, like self-modify code as well, which that's super into the realm of science fiction. If you have like any form of comp sci degree, I know that Caleb knows computers. He knows that that's an incredibly difficult thing to achieve. That's only in like the world of computer science, and like we're not even close to that. Like the way that we know AI today is it's really good at processing a shit ton of data in parallel. It's not good at like it's really good at processing that stuff. If you good like parameters, like the way that a self-driving car works, right, like a Tesla autopilot system, is that the engineers sit down and basically tell Tesla, it's like, or the AI, it's like, hey, all the camera data you're feeding, right? Like these are the lines on the road, these are the cars in front of you, these are all these things, and the engineer is designing all the parameters for how the AI is using that data to come to its conclusion. It's not that the Tesla AI is learning how to drive, it's that over time engineers try to find better ways to utilize that data, make the system more efficient, and that's how it works. It's not that the system, it's like it's not that it's turning into HAL 9000 and it's like fucking learning how like human society works. That's not how it is. So we're not close to that yet. When we do develop it, that's when things kind of get scary. And that's if we develop it, like who knows who knows like the hard limit to something, right? That's a beautiful part about science fiction. We used to one day think that this wasn't possible, like this, like communicating over the internet like this. Now it is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's time to see where things go from here, right? Like that's one of the interesting facets of artificial intelligence, and the fact that anybody nowadays can get access to doing it locally on their system is even bigger. It used to be that like processing these AI calculations used to take a fuck ton of computers to do it. Now you can do it on like a couple of graphic cards networked together. So interesting.
I haven't really followed AI too closely, but I remember I had some courses on it back in university. It seems like it's very stale in regards to how it's actually progressing. Like, it doesn't seem like there's an awful lot of new ideas so much as it's just people just make bigger neural networks.
Yeah.
And you'd think that no, go ahead.
No. It's like what I said like a minute or two ago. It's like we're just good at processing the stuff in parallel, but we're not making the code necessarily write itself. Like it's not rewriting or doing things like that. Like we're not at that point, I think, where it's like you play the Mass Effect games, right? Like you talk to the AI in it. Like that's natural language processing, like NLP. Like that's where we're at right now. We're able to like get to a point where we're able to conversate with the computer like naturally, like with our linguistics. But how much are we going to actually achieve in terms of that computer system understanding itself and like rewriting it? That's where it's wrong. So that's where you're right. It is very stale, and who knows when it gets like when the next big achievement happens, right? Like you get all these Web3 like CEOs fucking talking about it, but like there's no actual crazy advancement in the whole scene.
It is such a buzzword. Anything relating to AI in any company is such a buzzword, man.
It is. It's like Web3, blockchain, crypto. Yeah. It's all fucking buzzwords.
NFT.
Fuck, man, dude. I don't even. Dude,
I love NFT.
Dude, anybody that's in the crypto game right now, fucking, you got to get your money out of all those crazy exchanges. Like, dude. I was in the morning, like 2 days ago. I was like, "Fucking, you guys know Coinbase?"
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
apparently their Reddit board is fucking on fire right now. They're like, "I can't withdraw my money." I'm like, I was talking to CoffeeZilla about it last night. I'm like, "There's no way this Coinbase can fall, because if Coinbase falls, all of crypto is in a fucking stone age." Could you imagine the trending tab the day of its fall? Like, people who are like, this is what I love about the crypto scene right now. Like, these crypto guys that were like fucking flaunting their wealth, like
Mhm.
6 months ago, are now flaunting their McDonald's job applications because whatever gains they made are fucking
Dude, they
gone.
Not 6 months
disappeared.
ago, like a year ago.
Yeah.
Those
been,
hexagons
like, over a
on
year.
Twitter are trying so hard to go back to circles. That's so sad.
Shit has been really bad for crypto for like 8 months basically.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
really, really, really bad for like the last 3.
well, like, it's
Been
so
terrible.
it's not going to get better too, because it's finally getting hit with all those fucking regulations and shit, which it
Mhm.
rightfully should. And no one's going to be able to do those crazy pump and dumps and like scams anytime soon. It's like, if you
'Cause I
made
think
money.
the reason why crypto is so alluring is because it's untraceable. And once there are regulations, then why use crypto more than any other currency?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and the thing with crypto, it's like, it really was strong for people to like. Crypto was great if you wanted to move money between countries, like fucking. And this is what we talked about like a month, I think, like 2-3 episodes ago. Like, I think I mentioned, where like, when it comes to like a bank transfer between a country, like fucking, if I was to send $100,000 to Denmark tonight, it would trip a red flag on my account. It would trip a red flag to the person that's getting the money too. Like, both countries would be like, "What the fuck? 6 figures? Wait, we need to know the legitimacy." Now, if it's legitimate money, you can prove it really easily, right? You can be like, "I earned it from here, blah blah blah," file a few forms, be done. But if it's illegal money, oh, you're fucked. Like, you've tripped every red flag, and now you're under investigation. The thing with crypto, it's like, because that money transfer isn't regulated, you can just send it to any country right now. I can send you $100,000 like dollars in Bitcoin, and nobody would be any wiser. Now it's up to you to figure out how the fuck you're going to transfer the $100,000 into your bank account without tripping a red flag. But one of the biggest hurdles is already done. I've already sent my money to the other person, right? That's one of the big problems.
But even with regulation, surely there's still things like, for example, Monero, where it's just built in the system that it's anonymous by default, right? Because crypto, at least you have the various wallets that you can connect to people. What do you think about something like Monero in that regard?
Well, that's the thing with Monero. Eventually, it has to hit like a identifiable blockchain, or it has to hit like a fiat bank system. And this is where, again, we were talking about AI. One of the strongest things about AI, and one of the reasons we're jumping really into it, is it helps so hard in crypto investigations. Like, I remember a year ago when we were doing like the fucking exposing of like influencers on YouTube. Me and Coffee were like literally sitting, like, going through the blockchain by hand, which is fucking insanity, by the way. Nowadays, we wouldn't even have to do that. We could like feed an address into an AI, and the AI could look through all the transactions. It could give us an exact inflow outflow graph. That's where things are getting important. So even if you use like anonymized blockchains, unless you can use the Monero money to buy a house or a car, it's a different fucking story. But that's not how the world works. You still need to pull your $1 million of Monero out to an actual legal currency to buy a house. And at that point, good luck explaining to the IRS where the fucking millions you made came from, right? Like, that's the hurdle, right? Like, unless you're Scientology, all right, who has like ins with the IRS, you're not like that. That's when you're fucked. Like, the IRS is like the end all be all. Like, if you can't convince them, you're fucked. You're done. And like, a lot of the guys who are in the crypto world who have done the scamming, they don't have big connections like, criminal enterprises that have laundering fronts, right? Like, if you're in the mafia, right, like, you already had the city of Las Vegas to launder your billions of dollars through, no questions asked. Everyone knows that city is like a money laundering capital. We all know that. The only reason it's not shut down is because you shut down Las Vegas, you basically killed Nevada's economy. So it's a dirty secret we let live. But most guys, especially the influencer scammers, don't have access to that shit. So it's like, you made millions of dollars off Bitcoin crypto. It's just sitting there. You can't launder it because you don't have the ability to do it. So you're kind of just sitting there losing your fucking gains. Because even if you sell NFTs or sell crypto, you still have to prove the origin point. A lot of people who have deals with some like casinos offshore that are getting paid in crypto, and they're like, "Oh, it's legal because my country doesn't ban this casino." you're right. Your country doesn't ban the casino. Now I want you to see if you can put that money into your bank account and then explain to
Right.
your
In
government.
the US, right?
Yeah, right. Like, imagine if for some reason, like, fucking these casinos that don't operate, like for Stake, for instance, right, which I don't believe operates in the US right now as of today. Like, imagine if you got paid $2 million a month from Stake, right? And you live in like fucking California. Now, all of a sudden, you're 2 million. You're trying to convert into cash. You've been paid by them. You think it's an advertising deal. What the fuck do you think Uncle Sam is gonna think? Like, where'd you get the 2 million from? Oh, this offshore casino that our people can't even gamble from. Where the fuck are you getting paid by them, asshole? It's like, wait a minute. Like, that's the problem with some of the influencers. They get paid a shit ton of money, and if they get paid in crypto with like no fucking like filings or anything of that sort, good luck trying to get it, and good luck not getting busted.
It would
Which
be
is
nice to get like Train or XQC on the podcast to just ask them like, how much of the millions that you've made do you have?
I feel so for some of those big guys it's a bit different, right? Like for some of those big guys it's like they have deals where like I think they get paid in actual currency. That's why some of them move to Canada, right? Now they'll constantly say like Canada like is licensed or they're friendly. Canada has like no, like we're very neutral about it. It's just not been enforced, you know? It's not that Canada's cool with online gambling. It's just that Canada doesn't really have like a hard set law like the States does, for instance, right? Because in America they had an issue with money laundering a lot with online gambling firms. That's why the fucking State Department had to jump in. Canada didn't have that yet. But even when you look at cases of online gambling in Canada, we have agencies like the Mafia, Hell's Angels, who jump into like online gambling fronts. Canada will enforce any form of like illicit online gambling. They will. They don't fuck around with it. We had people in my province alone have like raids by the feds over this shit. Now, again, you're right. Like when it comes to those people, since I believe they're not getting paid necessarily in crypto, they're actually getting paid wired money, right? Like to their houses, to like actual bank accounts, might be a different story. But those guys have a very special deal. You're not talking about like the 90% of actual gambling deals that are done in crypto. That's where you got to ask the question. It's like, how much of that money can you move in? Like, one dirty thing people don't know is that when it comes to like online gamblers, and I'm not naming names here, but some of the biggest names in the circuit, right, will take loans from other gamblers in the middle of the night when their gambling like
Yeah.
services are sleeping. Like, you know, like when you're like when fucking the house is sleeping, right? And they're like, shit, I'm pissing $1,000 per slot reel. They'll like call up their friends and they'll be like, can you give me $800,000 as a loan? A loan. Now the house will cover it tomorrow to that person, but could you imagine between these people, they're shifting around money values of $500,000 to $1 million, loaning each other money so they can gamble more on their live streams to not even like 10,000 people at times. That's how lucrative this market is, right? Like when these guys at those viewership levels are streaming at like fucking, they're exchanging $500,000 to $1 million. And when you look at that number, imagine how an artist like Drake must be getting paid, because Drake is on
Yeah.
board with Stake. Drake is one of the biggest fucking rappers in the world. Imagine how he's getting fucking paid in comparison. Like, this is how lucrative the market has become. And when you pay the influencers this much from your casino, and your casino is like this unregulated offshore business, now you have to imagine how much money that's flowing into this casino is legal money, you know? Because one of the reasons why these casinos operate with those licenses in Curacao is that the regulation is basically non-existent, right? And one of the things with all the anti-money laundering reports in the world is that, hey, this is that one country where cartels, criminal organizations, love to funnel their money into online casino stores. So it's like when you have that shady trail, that's why when you're an influencer and you're taking deals from these guys, you might want to make sure your deals are completely 100% safe. Like, I talk to Caleb and Nux a lot, and the reason why like I trust these guys is that they know to not take a bad deal. Like, it doesn't matter if you get millions of dollars, is your millions clean? Because if even $1 is fucked up, you're the first one on the chopping block, not the actual people running the casinos. They're fucking running it with impunity. They're never gonna get
Yeah,
busted.
they're again anonymous people.
Yeah, they're never
can
gonna
do
get
whatever.
busted. They'll buy $100 million mansions with no fucking legal problem. The person getting busted is the guy they pay like the 2-3 million a month to, which is
The person
nothing
whose
for the
name is
casino.
on the line.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Right? Like, fucking, that's the real concern with some of these online
It's like
crypto
I had the same
casinos.
thing. I'm sure you were also reached out to years ago by BetterHelp. You know, like,
Me?
hey, BetterHelp, they reached out to me.
Yeah.
a long time ago. You know, hey, we're a service that provides therapy for people with with mental health problems, and I didn't take the sponsor. I didn't want to deal with them, and then they turned out to be this whole big scam. They weren't mental health professionals at all. Like, you remember this?
Yeah, the BetterHelp scandal. Yeah, where they were just like, I remember their
I don't
ads
think-
on Reddit a lot because they would just be like,
I didn't take their sponsorship. I don't think either of you did either.
no. It's one of those things where it's like there's some sponsorships where it's like when for me it's like supplement stuff I can't do because who knows what the fuck is in a supplement. I'm not going to fucking push that onto somebody. Obviously, mental health, gambling, those kind of things. It's like for me, gambling is such a no-no because it's more addictive than I think any other substance in the world. And it's like just the amount of life that I have a personal story too about it too. Like one of my like family members, their gambling is about like horse racing, horse betting. That absolutely ruins your finances and shit in the future. That's why like I can't like in good conscience ever pedal it because I've seen the worst of it. There's no winners in gambling. Like the only winner is the actual fucking house in this scenario, right? Like that's it. The only winner is the person running the house, not the person peddling it or anything. And for some of the people, even in the gambling sphere, who are gambling influencers, yeah, actually a big chunk of them are currently in debt because of this shit. Because they do get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they lose double that in the actual like promotion. So it's like unironically, they're fucking shilling this gambling like fetish to their fan base while at the same time also indebting themselves, like fucking themselves over. That's how fucked up it is, you know? But it is what it is. We've jumped from so many different topics on this thing. We went from big dick pills to AI to like money laundering. That's the beauty of this podcast, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I love every single episode. You people are so fun to hang out with. It's crazy.
It really is.
You people.
You people.
But anyways,
Hart, would you like to do the outro?
Hart, what
Thank
are you
you
talking
again
about? That's
for the
Nux.
face reveal.
That's
That's
Nux.
me.
Get
That's
at
me,
dude. That's
bro.
Nux.
Nux.
Get out of here.
Did I?
Nux
Hart,
Taco.
it's my other channel. It's my vlog channel.
Nux, did I?
Yeah, dude.
I don't remember if I told you, Nux, but after like the third day at Anime Expo, when the whole meme started that I was you, I had so many people come up to me and ask if I was Nux. And
No.
yeah, no, I did. And it got to the point where, you know, after like the first three, I just started like not responding to people, and I would just like give them a thumbs up, and they'd ask for a picture. So the way it would go, I remember this one guy, he came up to me and he tapped me on the shoulder while I was talking to a friend, and he looks at me and there's just Christmas lights in his eyes, and he goes, "Are you Nox Taku?" And I just kind of, you know, I nod at him, and he's like, "Can I take a picture?"
You're evil.
I gave him a thumbs up. He goes over, he takes the picture, and he's like, "You know, thank you so much, man. Enjoy the rest of the convention." And I turn to him and I just say, "Yeah, man, you too." And his face just died in that moment.
That's why in public I just straight up tell people like, "What's your YouTube channel?" I'm Nux Taku.
I'm not stuck.
It's like it's actually horrible. Horrible. But
you know,
I also love it so much in a weird way. It's like
you'll never get like exposed or anything. You'll never get like revealed because now people believe you're like 40 different individuals. Nux Taku isn't just one person; it's a lifestyle.
He's an idea. He is an idea.
For all we know, Andrew Tate is actually Nux Taku under a
Okay,
different name.
all right, hold up.
I've got proof.
That would be like the biggest plot twist if like all this, because remember, audience, we don't even know his face either, so you could actually be Andrew Tate, and we wouldn't even know. Unironically,
True.
yeah, you could be the biggest misogynist in the world, just fucking, just on this podcast.
Okay, why don't we say that I could be like the nicest guy in the world? Why is that our example though? Like,
Biggest misogynist, public flasher.
You could be either
public
Andrew
indecency
Tate or
expert.
Matt Pat. He could be
Matt
Andrew
Pat.
Tate or Matt Pat. You could either be with the lowlies or not be with the lowlies. One or the other.
oh
dude.
God! Okay, end it here. Hart, take us out, please.
Take
Please,
us-
outro.
I don't even know what to say in the outro, man. God.
Well, I guess I'll end it. Ladies and gentlemen, please check out our friend Hartvigen, friend of the show, absolutely amazing creator. If you're into hentai and you want to, and you got parental filters all over your web browser, this is a channel for you because YouTube is not blocked by parental filters. So wink, wink on that one. Ladies and gentlemen, I've also got my amazing co-host Oompaville. If you want to see a man tase his balls, and also if you want to see two misogynists having an interview sometime this week,
Oh my
that's your
God,
channel.
this is
and
so
Nux
exciting.
over here, who's 40 people in one who refuses to admit it. And if you absolutely want to watch the shittiest channel, there's always me. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this episode of the podcast, let us know. Like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. We are out.